And what I want to encourage you to reflect on this week is if you are really showing up in the world as who you really are you allowing the magic and the majesty and the absolute sheer joy of who you are deeply inside, not the version of you that you've learned is acceptable or the version of you, the mask that you put on every day so that you can do your job or, have your relationship or whatever, who you really are. Are you allowing that version of you to flow through? Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast, where we talk about manifestation, money, and practical guidance to creating your dream reality. My name is Amy Van Meel, and I am an experienced coach and transformation guide, obsessed with helping you get out of your own way and create a life that blows your mind each day you wake up. My goal in this podcast is to share practical manifestation, self-awareness, and growth techniques in real talk conversations. So if you're ready to massively transform your reality, your finances, your relationships, and your overall enjoyment of life, you are in the right place. I am absolutely delighted that you're here with me today, babe. Let's get into it. Hello, my loves, and welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. And if you are a longtime listener, I'm delighted to have you with me. I want to jump straight into the episode today, partly because I'm hungry and need to eat something. And the longer I sit here in my office, the hotter I am getting. I was dressed like a Russian oligarch at the beginning of today. I was just already in my sweats, but I was feeling cool because it's a cold day in Calgary. And so I went and got my coziest, most plush robe out of the closet. It was a wedding gift to me from my dad and his girlfriend. I don't wear it very often, but oh my goodness, it was cozy as fuck. And I was totally here for it. And now I'm nicely warmed up. So I'm going to jump right into what I want to talk about today. On Mother's Day, which was a few weeks ago now, or just before Mother's Day, I guess, I have a complicated history with my own mother. It has yielded me shit tons of lessons and awarenesses and experiences. And that relationship and both how it's evolved and what it's become and what it is and all the elements of it has been something that I've really had to process through a lot. On the other side, I have the most amazing relationship with my mother-in-law. I've spoken about her on the podcast before. I think she is just absolutely amazing. I have her in the highest respect, and we absolutely adore one another. I cannot say enough good things about her. I really am very blessed and lucky in that relationship. So it was coming on Mother's Day, and I was sitting and doing a little meditation. And as I closed the meditation, what came through was that I wanted to send an email to my mother-in-law. And I sent her this email that was very vulnerable, something that would have very much become ammunition and fodder for shame with my own mother. But I have over 12 years developed this really loving, deep, trusting, amazing relationship with my mother-in-law. She is out traveling, so I wasn't expecting that she would that I would hear back from her right away. And this morning I received an email back, and there's a specific line that I want to talk about today. And I'm going to just front this very quickly by saying that as complicated as my relationship is with my own mother, my mother-in-law also had her own challenges with her mother, not nearly to the extent that I did, but it gave her, and perhaps this is part of why we've connected so deeply, it gave her some really amazing insight and a unique understanding about some of like what I struggle with and why that's such a challenge. So here's the line um, that really stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to record a podcast about this today. We could only be who we truly are. She briefly mentioned her relationship with her mother and the challenges that brought on for her. But she did say, neither way was better. We just were very different personalities. We each had very different ways of coping with life. And those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words would be helpful if I counted before. Hey, those 8 words absolutely really stopped me in my tracks. And that's where I want to go today. We can only be who we truly are. Hello, my loves. Is your experience with money less, oh my God, this is amazing, and more, oh my God, why do I always feel broke? Would you like to shift that already? If so, I've created a powerful free resource just for you. It's called 8 Questions to Shift Money Instantly. And it has already helped countless women begin to reposition their experience with money from financial struggle and scarcity to clarity and expansion. These are not your typical money questions. They are designed to create clarity right now, helping you uncover limiting beliefs keeping you stuck and make immediate changes in your daily money interactions. Don't worry, you know me, I make it easy for you. In fact, I've used these exact questions to eliminate over $40,000 in debt and completely revolutionize my spending habits. Don't let another day pass feeling stuck in those old patterns, my love. Head over to amyvanmeal.com/8 questions and get your free download now. That's amyvanmeal.com/8 questions. Your financial transformation starts today, my love. Where we get stuck often in low vibe feelings and this like sense that something is off is the gap between what we expect or who we expect or desire people to be and who they actually are. One of the lessons that I learned years ago, but like it is an ongoing lesson for me. You'd think I'd learn it once and be done with it. But anyway, here we are. One of the lessons that I learned a long time ago was that if I wanted, this really applied to my siblings, if I wanted my siblings to see me as who I am today, instead of constantly filtering me through who I was when I was a teenager or who they've been told that I am and misled to believe that I am, then I also need to allow them to show up as who they are and to see them for who they are instead of filtering how I perceive them through who they used to be or who I've been misled to think that they may have been. So where we get in trouble is when we keep holding this expectation for people to show up in our life in a certain way, and then they don't. And the interesting thing is, I was thinking about this earlier this morning when I was doing my reading. I was thinking about an interaction I had with one of my siblings this week. And I realized that I was feeling really frustrated because my sibling hadn't shown up in the way that I wanted them to and didn't seem interested in showing up in that way. And then I was like, oh my gosh, have I ever actually shared my expectation or my desire for how I would love for them to be in my life? And I realized that, well, no, I hadn't. Because, like, that's scary and vulnerable and shit. And, like, I have many, many decades of experiences and vulnerable, I'll call it bids for connection that has kind of shown that that's probably not the safest thing to do. And that doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter whether or not I reach out to my sibling and say, "Hey, this is how I'd love for us to connect and be together as siblings." What matters is how I am perceiving and then how I'm using that perception to create a specific experience of emotions in my life. So I was feeling great until this interaction happened. And then all of the stuff queued up in my brain and it pulled on all those old wounds that said, your siblings don't care about you, Amy. They don't love you. They're not here to support you. You are always going to lose if it ever comes between you and this other person in your family, and you know that you need to just find a way to accept it. Like, they're just never going to love you the way that you really desire to be loved, the way that you feel that you love on them, and the way that you hope that they will love you in return. And being in that space caused a huge amount of hurt and frustration. It took a huge amount of energy out of what I was creating that day, which meant that now I had this like uphill battle to climb and fight in order to get back into a creative space that would help me create content for you and build my business and right all those things. So what happens when we um, have these, I'll say, misaligned expectations for people in our life is it it's in it influences and impacts our relationship with them, because then we are going to show up in a certain way, and that way is not always helpful. I'm just going to say that right now. Okay. So, like, sometimes the way you're showing up, even though you desire to have a certain kind of relationship with them, the fact that you may not be, or your interpretation, I suppose, that you may not be, is coloring how you show up. So you may think that you're showing up in this really open, loving, supportive way, and it may actually be received as nothing I ever do is good enough for this person. They seem annoyed every time I see them. Nothing I say is landing properly. So why even bother? Right? Because everybody's going to receive you in a different way. But part of it and how they receive you is how you are actually sending out the signal. So even if on the surface you think that you're being really kind, underneath the surface, you might be having this vibration of frustration and disconnection and disappointment, and that's going to come through. Think about it, like, here's a super simple example. If someone who is really catty, okay, like a true bitch, that you're just like, OMG, I don't ever want to be around that person. You're wearing this outfit that you just feel like is the cat's pajamas. You feel fucking hot wearing it. You are completely vibing who you are when you are dressed in this outfit. And then you come across this person and they go, "Oh my God, I love your outfit." The words are kind, right? But the intent, everything that's riding underneath it, feels gross and icky, and we can interpret it as hurtful. What we may not realize is that that particular tone is coming through because that person feels so self-conscious and has so little belief and value in themselves. What they truly mean the words that it does look amazing, but they don't know how to communicate it in a way that actually allows you to feel like they admire what you're wearing, right? So that's just a really simple example. I'm going to keep today super short, partly because I'm really fucking hungry. So, like, I need to go eat something. What I want to leave you with today is a gentle reminder that each of us can only really be who we really are. That is as true for your family and friends as it is for you. And I want to encourage you to reflect on this week is if you are really showing up in the world as who you really are you allowing the magic and the majesty and the absolute sheer joy of who you are deeply inside, not the version of you that you've learned is acceptable or the version of you, the mask that you put on every day so that you can do your job or, have your relationship or whatever, who you really are. Are you allowing that version of you to flow through? And if you are not, then perhaps this week is an opportunity for you to practice in small ways, really showing up as the version of who you really are. If inside you feel like someone who really has intelligent, kind things to say, but on the outside you say nothing, or it seems to come across catty, then perhaps it's a matter of practicing a little bit of vulnerability and trying in a few small situations to really be the version of you that is kind and open and loving. And then, and I'm going to just say this straight up, you might not like it, but then you cannot, or it's ill-advised to, you cannot then assume that everybody else needs to completely understand how you're showing up. And then if they don't, get upset because they didn't understand how you're showing up. Okay? When we are in flex, when we are in growth, when we are in expansion, we are quite literally shaking up the foundation and the framework for how people understand us to be as a human. And when we do that, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But we are going to upset the apple cart, right? They have you cataloged under whatever, okay, here, your name here, and here's all the things that they believe to be true about you. Doesn't matter if they are true or not. This is how they have cataloged you in their mind. And when you start operating in a way that doesn't match that catalog description, they're like, well, hang on a minute, something's not right here. The math is not mathing, right? The code is erroring out. What is going on? And so they are going to respond in whatever way that they are going to respond. Maybe it's positive, maybe it's negative, maybe it's nothing at all. But you are the one who is shifting the framework. And it's important for us to allow them the space that they either get to decide to shift as well and to expand into this deeper, more wholesome version of you. And by wholesome, I don't mean like the wholesome version of society, but wholesome in terms of the whole embodiment of you as a soul being on this earth without all the programming and shit that you got taught along the way. It's important to allow them the opportunity to choose. They can choose to expand with you in this new wholesome way. They can choose not to. They can choose to keep seeing you as however they've seen you before. And I'm sure you've heard this before. It's not your job to convince them otherwise. Your job has nothing to do with them. Your job is only ever about who you are showing up to be. And I'll just come back to that line that my mother-in-law sent me. We can only be who we really are. All right, my love, I trust that this has given you some insight and some expansion this week. If this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment on my latest social media post, or send me a DM. I think you can DM me on Instagram, but maybe not on TikTok. I haven't quite figured out the TikToks. I'm deeply appreciative of you being here with me. And I really just want to hear how you're feeling it. All right, my loves, have a wonderful week ahead wherever this finds you. I wish you health, wealth, and happiness, and I am excited to be here with you. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform and help me reach more like-minded people who are ready to expand their life. If you haven't yet followed me on social media, find me on Instagram for extra love and inspiration by following at Amy Van Meel or visit my website at amyvanmeel.com. I love you so much, babe, and I am damn proud of you. I am already excited to connect in the next episode. And in the meantime, believe in yourself with the confidence of a 5-year-old.